Hello, this is Ted Remington, Associate Professor of English and Director of Writing at the University of St. Francis. This video will show you how to use Microsoft Word's Find feature to eliminate over-reliance on the verb to be in your writing. If you've heard or read much about improving your writing style, you've probably heard that one tendency that beginning writers and even frankly seasoned writers have is an over-reliance on the verb to be, which includes be, is, are, were, was, etc. To be is a pretty generic verb. It's a very useful verb, but it's generic because all it's saying about the subject is that it exists, and that's not saying a whole heck of a lot. So, one thing you can do to make your writing more interesting and more memorable for the reader and more involving for the reader is to use more specific verbs than just to be. Now, there's a number of ways you can do that, and the most obvious one is simply to read through your paper and circle examples of be. Just be on the lookout for those and circle them yourself, and then go back and change some of them. But it would be nice if there was sort of a short, quick way to do that rather than having to slowly go through your paper and trusting your own copy editing skills. And there is a way to do that. So let's go up here. This happens to be a paper that I wrote a while back, and I'm going to use this as the example. I'm going to go up here to Find. I'm at the home screen in Microsoft Word. I'm going up to the Find feature that has the binocular little icon next to it. I will click on the little down caret, and I will go to not Find, but Advanced Find. And I'll show you why in a moment. So we'll click on Advanced Find, and then we get this. It's Find and Replace. We're not going to worry about replacing now. We're going to have we don't want it to automatically replace anything. We just want it to find be in our paper for us. So what we'll do is this. It asks find what? I will type in be, right? So now it will find the word be in my paper, which is nice. But as we just established, there are many, many forms of to be, including is, are, were, etc., etc. Do we have to do the same process over and over again for each of those forms? The answer, thankfully, is no. Why not? Because of this little check mark down here. Okay, I've asked it to find be. Down here, I've clicked this box that says Find All Word Forms. This means it'll find all versions of this word. So it's going to find not just be, but all forms of be, which include is, are, were, etc., etc. Okay? Can only do this in English, but thankfully, for this example, we are writing in English, or something at least vaguely approximating English. So we will make sure we have this clicked. So then we'll go up here to Reading Highlight, and we say Highlight All. This means I want it to highlight in yellow all of the forms of be that it finds in the paper. So hit that, and it says, wow, 231. All right. So we'll close this out and go to our paper, and sure enough, we see that there is yellow in our paper now, and all of that yellow is forms of the verb to be. Let's go up to the top here and go down, and you can see a few things. Even just scrolling through this briefly, you can see that there certainly are examples of be in the paper, right? I use it a fair amount, but it doesn't light up like a Christmas tree. It isn't like you're seeing yellow in every sentence. In fact, you're seeing some paragraphs where there's no be at all. And then you find paragraphs where, for one reason or another, there's maybe several of these. In this case, I happen to be quoting somebody who does use be a lot, so that's not the fault of the author. If you're quoting somebody directly who uses be, that's fine. And even if you are using it yourself, as I do here, that's okay too once in a while. The thing is, you just don't want to rely heavily on be as your main verb when it's easy not to. So let's find an example of a place where I've used the verb be and how we might change it. So here is the first paragraph of, or actually it's the second paragraph of the draft. Here's the sentence, the first one where be comes up. Through a close study of a specific film, I look at how a cinematic text invites its audience to broaden their vision of how conflict can be resolved. Okay? Well, it's not bad, but might there be a way to improve that sentence by not using be? Well, let me think. I could say, I look at how a cinematic text invites its audience to broaden their vision of uh, how movies resolve conflict. Okay, I just made that up just now. It's an easy way to do it, or maybe their vision uh, of how to resolve conflicts, or how characters resolve conflicts. There's a number of ways I could rewrite that depending on what I wanted to emphasize in terms of the idea. That would get rid of that be. Down here, you see that it's highlighted is. I didn't tell it to find is, but because Microsoft Word is kind enough to find all forms of be, it's highlighted is. And it's a very similar kind of example, actually. Let's just look at the second half here. But by challenging an audience's horizon of expectations about the way conflict is resolved in movies, particularly in its treatment of masculinity. Okay, we're just looking at this last part of the sentence, not the whole thing, because it's a relatively long sentence. Again, I can. It's not like it's a disaster, but if I find myself having more to be's in the paper than I want, I could change this. So I can say, for example, challenging its audience's horizon of expectations about the way movies resolve conflict. Okay, I just flip-flop some of the words and I've gotten rid of is. Or again, some of the same things that I did up here, I could do down here. The way characters in movies resolve conflict. That's another way I could rewrite it. Actually, the way I started is probably the one I would go with, the way movies resolve conflict. So I'm getting rid of is and I'm making resolve the main verb without the is added onto it, which makes the sentence a little bit more vivid and visual. Okay, but again, the point is not to get rid of all forms of be in your paper. It's a perfectly fine verb. Again, use in moderation, but you just don't want to become a beaholic and use be all the time. You want to find a balance where you are not relying on be as the default verb, but using your vocabulary to find other verbs that are a bit more specific and say more about the topic. And if you do that and limit yourself to only some scattered be's throughout your paper, you'll find that the paper just reads in a more lively way. The style is a little bit more vivid and gripping for the reader. So that's just a quick and easy way to find forms of to be. And then you can use your own skills as an editor to rewrite sentences where it might be easy to change a be verb into something else. And as I say, I think you'll find that the results will punch up your writing. So there you go. That's how to use Microsoft Word to find all forms of the verb to be so that you can edit them.